So this is Hiroaki Nakaya. Let me just introduce my colleague, my friends from Japan. There are 5 of my friends coming into this place. So Mr. From JMA, Meteorological Agency, strong mother agency, Mr. Yano and Mr. Mashiko. Mashiko is over there. They are developers, system developers. So they're very capable and strong to develop our systems. And we have consulting team, 3 of them. Mr. Hamada and Mr. Yabe. This Mr. Nobuoka is a mastermind of our machine learning version and morphologist and hydrologist. Today I will cover some technical remarks from Japan. I'm Dr. Hiroaki Nakaya, but people call me Hiro. I'm, looks like young, but Mr. Yano, I was in Mr. Yano's position 22 years ago, so that tells my age. So there are 3 components that are always in my mind, actually on my desks. One is cognitive aware, my piles of papers on Landslide, cognitive aware, cognitive. And the other is the cyber. The other is physical. I'm always thinking, how in the world I can separate and classify those documents. And then this is the functionality. French philosophers, Dumézil, I guess, in the last century, he wrote quite a lot about the classification or the functionality or something. The LandAware is covering the early warning system, which is the left part and the left circle. In Japanese system is update every 10 minutes, 1 kilometer grid every 10 minutes. It's not like twice a day or very mild type operation. It's a very intense operations. We have land of 380,000 square kilometer size, and the population size is 128 million. So it is very intensive operation. And there are soil water index. This is a virtual model. And there are many critics about this model, and I am one of them. So it is under very severe review now. So we are going to update it in a few years. We have long-term index and short-term rain index. So you can see the small rain and torrential rain. Most of the rains in Japan is convective. And convective meaning in the European sense of the term, it is all convective. So now this is the 1 kilometer grid products. We have gauges, like 4,000 to 5,000 of them are operating. And then the radar, multipolar radars like 56 plus. 56 is in our department, and in others are 26 by JMA. So we have C-band, X-band, and very dense radar networks. That's all combined together to produce analytical rain, which is nowcast, up to 3 hours. And then afterwards, for the prognosis sake, numerical models are combined, merged. Technical remarks, basics of Japanese. Where is that? Yeah, the loose improvement of EWS adopting the physical stomach model. Mr. Yano will cover this part later in the panel. This is based on the tank model plus energy budget model. And JMA will introduce actually they are introducing already, but they will officially introduce in a few years. They are all calculated by the runoff and in the river discharge. When I was young, the radar grid was 5 kilometers by 5 kilometers. But in in the past 2 years or so, I'm struggling to make this 1 kilometer. And all the grids has the different thresholds. And how in the world we can decide the threshold, credible, validated threshold for 1 kilometer grid? That's the challenge I have faced each day. Well, but today, last time I have talked about this issue in Perugia, so I will cover earthquake issues fundamentally in this session. After the earthquake, we have lowered the threshold for like 80% to 80% or to 70%. But my question for the past several decades is it necessary or not? Earthquake. And post-quake lowering of the threshold seems necessary in Japanese culture to take the safe side. We don't want lawsuits. Well, we don't want to be defeated by those lawyers. So that's why we as operators always lower the threshold. And as a result, the products, landslide warning, is almost meaningless. The threshold is too low. It is issued all the times, and that has no meaning for people. So I have, based on the data, they check if the lowering threshold is necessary or not. Day in and day out, I have doubts. And then after the years of studies, I think the answer is not always necessary to lower the threshold. So post-quake, I have gathered the data, the post-quake landslides for the strong one and essentially for strong one, not minor one. And there are so many. Actually, there are, I guess, including the minor one, maybe 2,000 quakes or so in Japan daily. That's a lot. And so post-quake landslide disasters from inventories, I withdraw those data from inventory. And before quake, and 0 to 0.5 years after the quake, like blah, 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 the basket by basket. And the upper part is the weaker earthquake, I guess. Yeah, weaker earthquake. Now, seismic intensity, Japanese seismic intensity, 5, less than 5 plus. And the lower, sorry for that. The lower version is 6 minus plus, which is a stronger one. After the intense earthquake, the rainfall index should go down, which is the 0.8 or something. Sorry for that. RBFN stands for Japanese rainfall index scale, dimensional scale. And if that is going up, the rainfall is rare, which is more intensive, strong. The lower, the weak. For the rain should go down actually. But the data shows that, because of the scarcity of data, the intensity of rainfall in times of landslide got rather strong. So that's weird, bizarre results. So from those data, compilation and repeated analysis, we came to the conclusion that we don't need to lower the threshold any longer. So susceptibility maps revised. Well, I have revised the susceptibility maps based on geocode and all the national inventory by 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. And that was all drawn as a map and produced and implemented in Japan now. And now I'm thinking to revise these maps again because of the work Mr. Hamada, Mr. Yabe, and Mr. Nobuka are doing a very good work to analyze all the DEM maps over Japan. It's called zero order basin rather than the first order basin. We are using zero order. The very meticulous data set were created from DEM, how in the variables, distributed over Japan. Actually, there are, I believe, 10 million, about 10 million zero order valleys in the Japanese mountainside. A quick suggest. I have to finish it. A frequent severe weather and heavy snow, geocomplexity, high seismicity, densely populated and urbanized, the rapid development is hopeless. Japan is hopelessly landslide through countries. We have to face it. And we have litigation. This year, we had the first circuit against JMA about the volcanic warning failure. They failed to issue a warning in time of volcanic eruption. And in the first circuit, they lost. There are other two circuits to fight over. But warning is a serious business. If we issue too much or if we fail to issue, we got lawsuits. And we may be put in jail. So we have to be very serious as an operators, and we have to set up very meticulous procedures to protect operators. And we have all the guidelines. We have to pile up the studies. But that's the reality of landslide early warning. We have to be very serious about it. We have to be professional. And post-quake cutoff adjustment may be valid for seismic intensity more than 5 or something, but the safe side is not always a safe way. Public trust may be worsened. So we have to keep the standards, and we should not lower the threshold easily. We sometimes succumb to public pressure because we have to issue something, kind of mindset syndrome. But we have to win over those temptations. Maps of susceptibility to be revised once again. So LEWS is a cultural product. Japan is very meticulous. It's a country of Kaizen improvement, daily improvement. We are working very hard. Believe us, 10 minutes, every 10 minutes or 1 kilometer, every day and day out. That's a very hard work. JMA is working very hard all the time. My result will be used by them. So I'm very happy to come here and talk with you. And you can talk with my colleague during coffee break. They are very good at it. So thank you very much.